because the situation in those countries, the media are giving a portrait that is sometimes very worrisome, but when you go on the ground, people are living their life. It's business as usual. My name is Eric Pignot. I'm the founder and CEO of a group called Enko Education. We are a Panafrican group of schools. We're established in 9 countries across the continent, and we try to bring a new solution of private schooling, affordable private schooling for children of the continent. Well, first, studying at HEC or at MIT, those 2 universities are incredibly international institutions. But paradoxically, there were few students coming from Sub-Saharan Africa. And it's an anomaly because the continent is the largest tank of youth. What we realized is that on the educational landscape in Sub-Saharan Africa, first, there's not enough secondary school. And second, secondary schools are preparing learners more to go study to local universities more than to a global journey. And we felt, okay, let's try to create a model of school that would prepare learners for that journey. Your question reminds me of, I think, a defining moment for Enko Education. It was in 2017. We wanted to open schools in Mali and in Burkina Faso because we could see the vibrancy of Bamako and Ouagadougou. And the IB, actually at that time, had a list of countries where they would not allow operations because of risk reasons, and they were not able to send consultants to Mali and Burkina Faso. And so we engaged in a conversation. The IB is a very mission-driven organization, and one of their ambitions is to create a more peaceful world via education, via the learners coming to multicultural understanding. And the conversation we had is, how can we create a more peaceful world if we don't go to the countries where the need is? And based on that conversation, we actually managed to work together and to enable IB to operate in the region. And so we opened those 2 schools. And I think that's been one of the important achievements for Enko Education. Those 2 schools are developing. Our school in Bamako this year received a 100% pass rate, which is an absolutely incredible performance. So for us, I think, war, some countries today are politically challenged, but at the end of the day, parents need good schools. They want their children to have a better future, and I think we can have a beautiful answer to bring to that challenge. So for us, we continue our development because the situation in those countries, the media are giving a portrait that is sometimes very worrisome, but when you go on the ground, people are living their life. It's business as usual, and I think it's very important to take a distance from what we see in the media and the reality of what's happening in those cities and countries. Today, about all children are enrolled in primary school. You have about 100% enrollment rate. That number falls to about 30% in secondary school and to 9% at university level. So one of the challenges is that secondary schools don't always do the link between primary to tertiary. That's the first one, and it's really a challenge that we try to tackle by doing more secondary school. A second challenge is around building a teaching capacity across the continent, attracting teachers that receive the adequate training to be able to offer a progressive education in schools. I would say 2 other challenges. One which is probably linked to the first 2, there's a problem of funding. There's a need for more funding in education on the continent. Governments today are spending a massive amount of their budget on education, much more than in Europe, but it's not enough. There's a need for more funding. So how will that come? Well, government are doing their part. There's a need for probably development money, but there's also a need, I think this is also what's driving the development of private education. And I think parents are willing today to invest in the education of their children. And maybe the last one I think is infrastructure. I think there's a need for much more school building because in a lot of cities of the continent, real estate is incredibly expensive, and it becomes very difficult it doesn't always make economical sense to create a school building when you could, instead of doing a building, have a mall or residential or business construction. Well, we're very humbled, and I think we have a lot that we need to accomplish, but that's our ambition. We really want to have a Pan-African impact. We want to continue to grow. We have 5,000 learners today. We hope to have 10,000, 20,000 tomorrow. And that's what Enko Education is about. It's really about having a large impact, impacting lives, and being a Pan-African journey and adventure. So that's what's driving us. It's what's driving all our teams, our teachers, our heads of school. That's what motivates us.